Check 1 2, check 1 2, check 1 2. Good evening, everyone. Good evening and welcome to meeting 4 of the Southeast Area Elementary School Boundary Study Committee. Thank you all for joining us. Just a few housekeeping tips, if we can, for the moment. We invite everyone to please make sure you signed in, our committee members, on the green sheets at the door, and any observers we may have with us this evening, welcome. Please make sure you've signed in on the pink sheets by the door. Get the slide advanced here, one. While we're here, thank you. Anyone that might need to use the restroom throughout the evening, we do have restrooms out the back and to the left. And please take a moment to note the exit signs. In the event of an emergency, such as a fire alarm sounding, our best exit is out the door to the parking lot. And again, we remind you to please sign in so that we can take accountability. We would use those sheets to make sure that we have everyone with us in the event of an emergency. We have several staff members here through the evening that are wearing orange-colored lanyards. We'll be around to assist you. Should you have any questions, please raise your hand, committee members. All the materials for tonight are available on our website at www.bcps.org. We have updated that with the latest public comments. It includes all the survey materials from our public information session that ran over the past few weeks, all the records of all previous meetings, all the videos from previous meetings. So please avail yourself to those resources. We are being live streamed tonight thanks to our friends at BCPS-TV. And for the sake of anyone joining us on live stream, committee members, please raise your hand if you'd like to make a comment or have a question, and one of us will be around with a microphone so that we can be sure to capture your voice. If there are any observers joining us this evening, we remind you to please respect the committee's workspace. Please do not engage, question, or approach committee members, and there are yellow protocol sheets on the observer tables for you to reference regarding that. With that, I'll give it over to Mr. Paul Taylor, our Director of Strategic Planning.
Thank you, Chris. Good evening, everyone. So we're hoping that this will be a very productive evening, and we have officers here supporting our activities. And I will just name the office, and if you just wave your hand and so we know you're here. Communications and Community Outreach. We have representatives from early childhood programs, from special education, and also from transportation. And as was mentioned before, staff of the Office of Strategic Planning are here. I'm Paul Taylor, the Director. Chris Percato was speaking earlier. Manu Kaur is there, and Mike Gottfredson is also here. And so now I'm going to turn it over to Melissa Appler, Coordinator, who will continue with the presentation.
So good evening. I'm just going to start a little bit off by going over the agenda for this evening and our goals for what we want to accomplish. We're going to give a brief presentation on the survey results. Then we're going to have an opportunity for you to take some time to look at those survey results, talk to them as a group, think about if there's any changes that you want to make to any of the options based on the feedback that you heard. Then we're going to we have a few questions that we received during the public information session and then our last committee meeting, so we're going to have some follow-up questions. We have 2 new options that we received from committee members. One we received during the public information session, and the other we got in an email based on the feedback that they saw. They asked for an option. So we brought those as options C and D this evening for you to look at. Then we're going to do a little activity. You can see all the maps of every single option you guys have looked at throughout this whole entire process, where you'll have an opportunity to look at those in perspective to the considerations and the objectives of the studies and kind of rate them. And then if you're ready, we'll have a nomination of, you guys can work to nominate an option to take to the Board of Education. If you're not ready, we'll have another meeting. So here we are on meeting 4. Like I just said, the goal of tonight is to make a recommendation to go to the Board of Education. That recommendation would go on February 10th. And then they will hold their own public hearing on February 25th. I just want to make a reminder that that public hearing is not here at Middle River. That public hearing will be at Stemmers Run Middle School. Everyone who shows up will have an opportunity to speak, so there's no limitations. And then the decision will be made on March 10th. Just a reminder of the boundary study objectives while we're all here is to balance enrollment among the participating schools, eliminate satellite boundaries for the schools, and then accommodate early childhood and special education programming. So a public information session was held on October 22nd, where we had a chance to get feedback from the community on the options A and B. An online survey was also conducted from the 22nd till November 9th. You have those results, all the feedback, all the comments received, and all of that is also posted online. And then we had about 158 respondents to that survey. So here are just really a brief 2 pie chart showing the results of the survey options. So option A, about 60% were in favor of option A. So that's the somewhat and strongly in favor of combined together, this for 60%. And then about 36% are in favor of option B. This chart here shows the details by school of who's in favor or opposed to each of the options by school. So you can see that Oliver Beach, 90% are in favor of option A, with Chase around 40% in favor, and then on the reverse you can see those that are in favor of option B. All of this is in your survey packets and the information that you'll have an opportunity to review. So we're just going to take about 10 minutes and let you look through those comments, look through that feedback, think about any of the options and any of the comments that you're seeing to see if there's any additional modifications or things that you see that maybe surprised you or you didn't consider before, and those types of things. Is everyone kind of wrapping up? Do you guys need more time? Okay. Does anybody have any feedback or comments that they wanted to add on what they've seen or what they've read in here? Is there anything you saw that was unexpected or any feedback? Any changes you would like, or we'll have another opportunity to make changes later in the meeting as well. Okay. There's no comments or questions. So we had a few follow-up questions that we've heard kind of during the public information session and at the last meeting. Again, we had the question about special permission transfer. Can students in the older grades stay at their school? So all rising 4th and 5th graders and their eligible siblings are allowed to stay at their home school. They just have to go through the special permission transfer process. In that process, they do not receive transportation. We also had a question, or a lot of comments and discussion about the drive times from different planning blocks to different schools. So we've provided the bus transportation times. From Planning Block 103 to Chase Elementary School is 8 minutes. From Planning Block 103 to Oliver Beach is 5 minutes. From Planning Block 113 and 309 to Chase is 3 minutes. And then Planning Block 113 to 309 to Oliver Beach is 6 minutes. So you can kind of see that there's not a huge variation in the amount of transportation times to any of those, but I thought it would be helpful since there was a lot of discussion around that. This is the September 30th official enrollment. Now, none of the options have been updated with this enrollment since we've just gotten it, but it can be used as a tool when you're looking at the utilization and the enrollment of the options to see where these schools come in this year. So overall, between the 3 schools, we're down 37 students. So in the study areas, 37 less students. We have 23 less students at Seneca, 9 at Oliver Beach, and 5 at Chase. So just this can be used as a tool when you're looking at those utilizations and enrollment. So this is the first new draft option, option C. As you can see, the change areas are highlighted in red. There's 129 students impacted in this option. The non-transport zones do not change, but there are satellite areas created in this option. It leaves Chase Elementary School at around 90%, Oliver Beach is at 97%, and Seneca is at 87% utilization. Option D was also submitted by the committee. This option, you can see the change areas in red. It impacts 182 students. The non-transport areas are not impacted, and the satellites are eliminated in this option. The utilization for this is Chase Elementary School is at 90% utilization. Oliver Beach is at 83% utilization, and this leaves Seneca at about 100% utilization. So here's where you might use the enrollment, the new enrollment, to think about those decisions when you're looking at those utilizations. I'm now going to give it over to Mike, and he's going to go over the activity.
Good evening, everybody. So this will be what we do most of tonight, is this and then the nomination part. So just to kind of set expectation there. So we've given you a lot of maps during this study. It can be overwhelming, and we do our best to try to both provide opportunity to think but not overwhelm. We'll see how well we did with this. But what we have up for you tonight is a lot of maps here on the wall, some blasts from the past from our previous meetings. I'll tell you this, TV's not going to like me moving on and move, Pat. So starting here is option A. So from here on down is A, B, C, and D. So if, as you come to this and you're like, look, I don't really want to care about, I already put all these out of my mind. I thought we were done with those, that's fine. But if you think there's something of merit in one of those, you want to bring something back, feel free to wander on down that way. But if you just want to do the things from the public information session and then the 2 that we showed you tonight, you can just start here and just work your way there. All right, and then at each of these, we've got a little table here that'll match your colored dots. So you've got a red dot and a green dot. And what we want you to do is place one of those, green for good, red for bad, in any of these different things here. So at the top, we have the boundary study objectives, the balancing enrollment, eliminating satellites, regional, or accommodating the regional program. You think that does well, a green, bad, red. Additionally, there's a lot of different, there's what we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so 9 total things. If you're going, that's too many. I don't want to think about all that. That's fine as well. You don't need to you got to put a dot in every single box on this whole wall, but just focus on the ones that you think are most helpful. And kind of the purpose of this, just to kind of get an idea of why we're doing this. This kind of helps us to build towards some consensus, see what we're doing, and then also as we're going through this, if you see that there's still something else that we need to do, we can talk about it at that point. So go ahead. You got your dots. We have extra dots as well. If you run out, if you're especially red or especially green tonight, we can work through that. But go ahead. We'll give you some time to come up here. Again, starting here is the ones from tonight. If you want to jog your memory on anything in the past, it's back that way. We'll give you some time to come up and put some stickers on. Oh, yeah.
Hi, I was just curious, are there any areas here on the map that could possibly have new neighborhoods built in the next few years?
So if you remember, well, let me think how to answer that. So we gave you the development map, and so those are the ones that have approved developments. Anything beyond that is anybody's guess, is honestly how I put that. You know, it's possible, but it hasn't happened yet. You know, some of you probably know this better than we do as far as, you know, that's a quarry or this or that may never. So as far as what we can reasonably expect in the near future, I would encourage you to look at the development map to get an idea of the ones that are currently approved. Those are the most likely to be have additional residences on there in the near future.
The place off of 43 that has that tiny little area that could go to Chase, there isn't any talk of that expanding?
Are we talking Greenlee? Is that what we're talking about? Yeah. Yeah, so all that's just the approved. Often there's different proposals that come up that people often get excited about, but we're not aware of any of those other ones as well. So, all right. I covered everything. One more? All right. Sure.
So when you look at the utilization percentage, Chase is getting a regional program, right? Which should hold 30 seats, okay? So when you're looking at the 30 seats are using up 4 classroom spaces. So technically, with the utilization of 90%, kind of not be as accurate because of the space per pupil?
The regional program would take up 3 classrooms, and the SRC that you're using in the study has been adjusted to take that into consideration. So when you're thinking about the state rated capacity, if you're a regular standard classroom, like grade 1, you can fit 23 students.
Right.
If you are a special education classroom, it's 10 students. So
Okay.
that's why we've modified the state rated capacity and then added on the students as well. So that utilization takes into account 30 students that could come out from outside this study area. Well, some of them may come from within this study area.
Right.
And then your state rated capacity was revised to take into account the
Okay.
change in room use as well.
That's why it's pink
correct
on here.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Mhm.
Right. Let's get back together and talk about what we found here. So Chris, if you want to get our microphone ready. So we want to start with, and so these are cordless. TV may not like this. If you want to come up and describe one of the maps, we can do that as well. But let's just start out with any comments you guys had, any things you learned as you did this, any thoughts you had, if there's any changes we need to make. We'll get into the nomination here in just a minute, so you can hold off on what you want to nominate. But if there's anything just generally that any specific option you want to talk about, generally things you found, looks like generally, the one thing I would say is you guys generally will agree on the things that go well or don't go well. So that's good. And then the relative the value of those will be up to you guys to decide. Kind of, as you see, I don't think any of them are straight greens. And so that's kind of what you realize happens in this, is you got to realize what's most important to you. So with that, Chris, anyone want to share any insights you guys had on this exercise or any of the options? Maybe quick, if not. You guys did, you guys were very thorough. I was impressed with how dedicated you were.
I just felt that everything that was 99 to 100%, it seemed like most people agreed that that's not where we're headed based on what you're looking for. Diversity, a lot of us were able to figure out the ones that showed more diversity. So like you said, there was a lot of continuity in certain boxes.
Anybody else?
All right, so we were looking back at option 2. With option 2, we noticed it does divide Hopkins Point in two, which was a big contention that nobody really wanted. However, that seems to me and somebody else that may be the best way to balance as far as keeping our numbers lower in capacity, raising diversity, and I can't remember what the other point was. Oh, and eliminating the satellite. So that option 2, we were looking at possibly bringing back to a vote, but it does split up that Hopkins Point.
All right, anybody else? So why don't we keep, did I miss somebody? All right, let's keep moving then. Okay, so we're going to do our option nomination now, and so the committee can nominate any option they want or create a new option to consider for the final vote. If you want to create a new option and we don't feel like you have enough information, we can bring that back for you later. But if you're good with what we got, we're fine. The committee is going to recommend one option to the board, but the board will have option or access to all of the options, the data and the survey and all the results that you guys have done. And as you nominate an option, we want you to just briefly explain why you think it should be recommended to the board. So just kind of how this will work. So we've got these all up here. As you recommend an option, we can pull it over here. And then once we've recommended all of them, we can give you guys a minute to kind of chew on that some more before we actually get to the voting. So with that, anyone want to nominate an option to consider for final vote? Yeah. All right, so we got 2, so I'll grab 2. Actually, this third. All right, any other? So we have 2. If you want to give a minute to think, that's fine too. We're all right. The only tricky thing I'll tell you guys, we have 8 voting members here. You can only split the vote so many ways. We need to get a majority, so just keep that in mind as we're going. So just, yeah, options you want to nominate.
I'd like to nominate option A
Okay.
because I think I'm sorry, what?
No, you're good. Keep going.
I think it's a fair representation of the survey results.
Yeah. Super. Maybe. I thought it would be helpful we just have them all since we have so many. Oh. Yeah, so we just want to have only the ones considered that you guys actually want to vote on, just so we only
Yeah,
have
what,
the ones.
let me try
Go
to
ahead.
clarify a little
Yep.
bit. So what we're doing now is we're saying which one of these options you think we should consider voting on. We're not voting. We're just saying that you may have like 3 or 4 options that you're not sure about that are at the top. So which ones are they? Forget about 7.2 or whatever, 7B. But these 3 I think are really worth considering. So you should each nominate, and you can nominate as many as you want. It only takes one person to nominate. I think we should consider that one. I think we should consider this one for final. That's what we're asking you to tell us now. Which one do you want to consider?
I think I'd like to consider B like boy.
Okay. Hold D over. Sorry. It makes sense in my head. Maybe it doesn't. All right, so we've got option 2, option B, and option A. Decent variety there in those 3. Anyone have any other option that caught your eye? So yeah, page 23. All right, anyone have anything in addition to these 3? Want more time? Are you feeling about ready? And so if we don't nominate it, it's dead to us then. So, but go ahead. You want one more? Or you just want to say something?
I just wanted to say something. Can we get another minute to go and
Yeah,
look
yeah,
at the 3
yeah.
maps?
Yeah, please. Yeah, so after this, so if there's no other nominations, we'll give you guys a minute to kind of chew on this before we actually get to the voting. That takes me a second to get the thing queued up. So you guys all set? Any other ones? All right, so we'll give you a minute. Once you guys are ready, then just kind of let us know and we'll wait till you guys are ready. We're ahead of schedule, so you guys are doing well.
So take a moment, look at these 3. These are the ones that have been nominated. These are the 3 that you think are worth considering recommending to the board. Right now, you don't consider any other options that should be recommended to the board. But you can, but before we vote, you can change your mind and nominate one of these others, or you can even come up with another option that isn't up here that you think should be worth considering. I don't know if this helps, but you don't have to stick with one of these. Absolutely. If you're like really close to the line and you just wish there's a tweak you could do to one of them, you're absolutely allowed to do that.
Well, that's what I was saying, that if we don't want to favor, seems like majority of numbers and diversity plus say to the board, these are the three we narrowed.
Well, what we're going to do is we're requesting one option go to the board, but they will get all of the results. No, the ones that were nominated and voted on. They'll still see everything, but this voting result is what they're going to see. Like the recommendation got 80% of the vote. There was another one that got 50%. Another one only got 10%.
Good talk. Good talk, everybody. Make sure everyone made it back. We didn't lose anybody. That they got everybody. Okay. So just before we get too far along, all of our voting members have your ActiveVote device. All right, so let's locate that. So how this will work, we have our 3 nominated options. We've got a question we'll put up. You guys will all vote. If we're looking for a majority, if we don't get a majority, what we'll do is we'll keep going until we get one. And so if there's a split, we'll take the lowest one, drop that, and then hopefully at that point we do have an odd number, so that's good. So we'll get that. All right, so there's those. Pull up our ActiveVote here. Okay.
I don't think we're ready if we're still trying to meet the needs of the diversity, the percentages, bringing down numbers, having to keep neighborhoods consistent, and the public comments. I don't feel comfortable that we can just choose one of these 3 at this time after we were all thinking that there might be this other possibility. But I don't feel like we can just vote yet until we've had more time to talk about it. Well, if we have to eliminate A because it splits a trailer park community, that goes against the comments where 60% of the survey had picked A. Plus, it still doesn't meet all the needs when you look at some of the red over there. And then B puts Oliver Beach at 99%, and that's 1% away from all the hundreds that we've eliminated, and I still don't feel that that's the right option either. Plus, listening to some of the survey results, if we're keeping that in mind. And then we had 2, which seemed to fit a lot more of the criteria based on the public comments, keeping more of the northern part to Oliver Beach, keeping Peppermint and, I'm sorry, I don't remember the name of the other one, together, Williams, together. This one splits Williams? Oh, not number 2. So that was part of the concerns that were in the comments as well. So if we are trying to take the publics into account and try to meet the criteria, I don't think we can just pick one yet if we haven't all had a chance to really make sure that that's what we're agreeing. I still feel like there's still some more time, or if we have to, then we have to tweak something, but then we'd have to discuss it.
Do you need more information that you don't have now?
Right. Like you said, we have one more meeting day that we could come if necessary.
Yes, if that's what the committee decides. So I'm asking, do you want another meeting in order to have more conversation, or do you need more information?
I would prefer more time that we can all sit down and talk and, or, like, I don't feel comfortable just jumping right to that yet.
Oh, okay. Is there any way to open up another survey? Because the really big thing that I saw in that survey was, or at least that I noticed, was Seneca's participation was extremely low, and wanting to hear from them and what they think about it is, I think, also helps with decision making.
I would think that if the first time, a second survey, you're not gonna get more participation.
I mean, if you push it out more, there's a possibility. If you send home a flyer, there's always a possibility. Why wouldn't we give the chance rather than not?
They were given a chance and they chose not to respond, and they're least impacted than the others. I think that Chase and Oliver Beach have significant impacts to them. Chase is not, or I'm sorry, Seneca is not. So I think the parents' involvement or the community's involvement is lower for that reason.
Yeah, but either way, they still should have another opportunity to make comments. It's You know, maybe they didn't understand that we were going to take everything into review. If there is another map being shown as far as 2, if we could provide data on that for them to take a look at, could we have more participation? Yes, no, I like this better. It doesn't split up my community. No, I don't like this, X, Y, Z. It's just a question. If we can't do it, I totally understand, but I thought it was a good suggestion.
Unfortunately, we do have some parameters we've got to work with the schedule. We did allow for an extra meeting, but we would not do another survey. Hopefully, you get enough information from the dozens or hundreds of comments and the survey results that you can interpret what the community is concerned about, and you can use your own judgment.
I just wanted to point out that even though only 22 people from Seneca participated, they did have some, you know, their results are in here. So for option A, 12? I thought it said 22.
That's why I said
My eyes. Okay, so yeah, option A, they opposed it mostly 40% to 25, and then for option B, they approved it by 66.7, and no one opposed it. So even though it is really low numbers, at least they made their voices heard in that way. And something else that I wanted to bring up is, I don't think that I knew, at least, that it was open to the public to submit their own ideas for these maps. I noticed that there was 2 additional ones that were added on from, I guess, one committee member and someone in the public. And I wish that we would have been able to know that, because I've known some parents that have been spewing ideas in this section and that section, and I'm sure that there could have been a few parents that would have been able to put something together if it was known.
So just to be clear, everything we presented to you guys was from the committee. The option D was just from a committee member, wasn't just from the comment. Yeah, all the options. So the C was from the public information session, and then D, we got an email from a committee member asking if we could put this together there. So go ahead.
So C is from the Public Information Center, but from a committee member at the public? Oh, okay.
So
I was just going to say, I think it is important too to realize, like, there's not going to be a perfect option that meets every single thing. So like, just as a committee to remember that while there might be problems with each one, at the end of it, our job is to come up with what is what we feel is the best based on all the information we've been given. So to say like we have to come back to get a perfect option is probably not going to happen, to have something perfect because of the way the numbers go out.
And also, I think mathematically, we're never going to get to where every school is going to be under capacity, how we would love them to be. I just don't think mathematically, with the 3 schools and the amount of kids, that we're ever going to get to a number that we all love.
So I guess an open issue for me is, what do we need to do to feel comfortable recommending an option? What additional time? What additional information? What would you guys like to see?
I'm not sure who you said there are 8 members, but I think that 8 members that have to vote need some time to stand up there and talk together.
Yeah, we can take 9. No, we have 10 only. Yeah, we're missing one rep from Seneca. All right, so if you guys want a bit more time, we can give you a bit more time.
Well, there's 2 times. One time is tonight. We still have 30 minutes for this meeting. And if at one point we'll have to decide if we want to have another meeting, come back. So if people have thoughts or things they want to share now, this is the time to do it. What do you, that's,
at capacity, if not over capacity, and they make it work. And I have confidence in everyone at Oliver Beach that you guys would be able to make something like that work and not get stuck on that 99%, because, you know, if year after year you're losing students, I know that you guys are gaining some, but there is a high probability that you won't exactly be at 99% next year when school starts. So I just wanted you guys to maybe not fixate so much on that 99%.
Julia has the mic.
While I appreciate the effort of being able to continue at overutilization, that doesn't mean it should be that way going forward. So it is important.
And again, if we're considering what the public had voted, a lot of them, that was their concern.
The public didn't vote, though?
Well, I mean, their comments.
Conversation at a time, and please use the microphone.
Do you want to pass this up?
Just from the comments that we were reading, a lot of them, and it was 60% had chosen A over B, and a lot of that was about the fact that it was 99% at the one.
A lot of
Too close to that thing. Go ahead. Did you say anything? No. Oh, okay. All right, so here is my standpoint. The 99, although yes, schools continue to function that way, it doesn't mean it's fair to the students. And ultimately, what we're here for is the students. Throwing in us at going from 50, whatever we are, to 99, one is a complete shock to everybody. You're going to uphold a whole bunch of, or pull a whole bunch of kids to an area in school they don't know. And if we want to be frank about it, I have some information. If you all would like to hear it, I'm going to say it anyway. But my number one thing with this is not having the funding, and you guys are probably annoyed by it, and that's totally okay by me. So I want to point out some facts that could hurt the students putting us at 99%. So with us going to 99%, we only get the funding from the state or whatever it may be at the average of between $72 and $78 per kid. Okay, that's what we get for the full year. And if I point out, Chase and Seneca both get 4.2 allocated extra staffing, $24,000 in school funds, and this is for a community school, I'm sorry, and an additional $4,750 for for family engagement. Chase and Seneca also both receive community funding. Sorry, that was Title I. They receive community funding, which provides one staffing position, $157,426 in additional staffing costs, and $40,000 in community funding, which makes you guys able to provide food pantries, care closets, Christmas assistance, Thanksgiving meals, school supplies, whatever it may be. Where some of those students who come from that economically disadvantaged neighborhood would need those assistance, Oliver Beach will not get that. With that being said, in addition, I talked to Michelle Stansberry, who is the director of Title I and homeless programs. The only way you're guaranteed Title I funding is if you're above 75% economically disadvantaged. If you are below 75%, it is up to each school district to determine what percentage they're going to give elementary, middle, and high school. It's usually a little bit different for each. Basically, the cutoff percentage. The reduction in federal funding for next year is going to be anywhere from 10 to 15%, which leaves us losing $4 to $5 million in funding for Title I. As I spoke to her, she did say schools below 60% economically disadvantaged are not likely to receive Title I funding starting next school year. Anywhere in the 50s of poverty would be very questionable. Some schools who have been receiving Title I funding for 10 plus years are most likely going to end up losing it. In addition, she was not invited to the boundary study for Title I, and she did say she would reach out to see if there's something, if there's questions, kind of how we have people over to the side, that she would reach out to see if there's something for future reference. But the point being, you're going to have us a completely full school with 0 additional funding. We cannot get community school funding for 3 to 4 years, as her and I discussed, where you guys already have the funding and the extra staff to be able to help these students. My main concern is the students and meeting their needs. If we get to 99, Oliver Beach does not have a large enough PTA. We do not have a community school facilitator to get these needs met. And you are leaving students to potentially fail, which is a disgrace. I'm sorry that was so long.
But also, our numbers had to be that for 3 years without the funding before we got the funding. So it's sort of that's the rules of the game, right? Like that's the way that it works.
So I understand that is the way that it does work, because her and I had a long conversation about it. However, I'm trying to think of how to word this. What is your opinion on throwing those children into a school without that when you currently have the funds allocated to help them?
So staffing will be adjusted based on where the kids go. So you would get staffing. And the whole point of a community school is that it reaches the whole community. So we have people from lots of different communities that come to our food pantry and our giveaways that do not have students at our school. So they would still be welcome there.
No, of course they would, but you also get 5.2 teachers and that extra funding that we would not have. So you would be taking that away from 100 and I think it's 4 students who are considered economically disadvantaged. I don't see how you could, oh gosh, I'm sorry, my words are lost on me, how we could think that's okay. That's all.
So based on the numbers you quoted with the percentages, Chase is typically at the high 50s, low 60s when it comes to Title I. So when the numbers that you quoted, that could possibly mean that Chase would lose their Title I based on those numbers. So if you look at the demographics, the numbers, then I probably would think that all of this should be decided without Title I in mind, because it is adjusted year by year based on the free and reduced percentages. So although right now we have it based on the numbers that you just shared, Chase might not have it next year, or Seneca might not have it next year based on their numbers. So if you take the funding out of it, look at what map is best.
Would still be community funding though, so you would still have some sort of extra funding where we just don't have it.
I want to make sure everybody has had a chance to say something that they haven't said. Does anybody want to add something they haven't already added?
I think one thing we haven't really talked about is the transitory communities that are within each map. And with option A, you are leaving Oliver Beach with no transitory community. Whereas if they got the community, I think, which is the main one in question, forgive me, I think it's Hopkins Point, then they have a transitory community. Chase has the trailer parks that are transitory, and then Seneca has the apartments, which all will help feed and rotate that admission into the school, the enrollment. Whereas if Chase does, or if Oliver Beach doesn't receive a transitory community, they could be in the same position 10 years from now. And I would hope that we're looking to solve for the long term.
But again, option 2 is the one that really seems to hit all the criteria that we've been looking for and keep all the numbers down so that they can grow. It gives part of the transitory and a big chunk of the diversity to Oliver Beach. And again, it's the B that a lot of the survey results showed that 60% chose A over B. A big portion of it was the Harewood Park zone, which looks like that's all still in option 2, which met a lot of the criteria. And again, it kept the Peppermint Woods community together, so that seems like option 2 could meet all the criteria needs. And again, yes, it is splitting the one community, but it's split now, and it has worked like that for years. And when we originally started, it was split between all 3 schools. So all of those problems have lasted for 30 years, where there had been students moving from one side of the community to the other. It's been that way for 30 years. And it's worked, right? I mean, I know that you're trying to keep them just one neighborhood, but option 2 hits a lot of the needs of your criteria plus the community, what the public had responded in the survey.
I'm gonna ask a couple questions.
I just want to know if we can vote to just see if any of the maps are eliminated, if any of them are eliminated. So maybe then we're down to just 2 maps. So if you can explain once again what the percentage is that we need to get to.
When you say percentage, you mean which ones will? This is how we normally do it. I hope I am answering your question correctly. The process that we hope to accomplish is we will ask which option A, how many people want to make that their number 1 recommendation? Vote. Option B, how many people want to make that the number 1 recommendation and vote? I hope I'm doing it right, right? Okay, I'm sorry. Eliminate. All right, let me try something else first. We have 15 minutes, and let me just explain the process generally. What we hope to do was have options up here that we would consider, that any of you would say, I want to consider one of these options. I'm not sure which one I'm going to vote for yet, but I want to vote for one of these. And right now it's 3. It could be 4. It could be 2. It could be one of these changed. It could be one of those brought over. And then when everyone feels like I have something up there that I can vote for, then we're going to vote and come up with a recommendation. We only want, the recommendation needs 51% of approval to be the number 1 recommendation. Anything less than that would still go to the board for their information, but it would not be the number 1 recommendation. If none of them get 50%, then we would drop the lowest one and then vote on the ones that remain, so that one of them comes at 51%. That's how we would normally do it. Now, what's on my mind is the process of going through this and how much time we need to do it. Everyone has expressed their concerns, pros and cons about what's up here. So my first question I'm going to ask, but don't answer it yet. I'm going to ask you, does anybody need more information that they have not received before they can make a decision? That's one question I'm going to ask you. I'm going to ask you to raise your hand, not even tell me what the information is. And if everybody raises their hand and says, we need more information, then we have to have another meeting. The other question I'm going to ask is anybody not ready to vote tonight. And if everybody says, I'm not ready to vote tonight, then we have another meeting. But maybe the majority is ready to vote tonight. There's only a few people who aren't. So we need to take that in consideration. Does everybody understand my two questions, what's on my head right now? All right, so my first question is, anybody on a committee need more information before they can make a decision? Okay. My second question is anybody not ready to vote tonight? Okay. The majority of you do not need more information. The majority of you are ready to vote tonight. So I'm going to ask one more question, then I'll let you speak. Does anybody want to request another option, something different than what's up here? Okay.
Told that 99% is like 100%, and other schools have been dealing with that for years, then everything that I've thought about all these other maps where I've said, that's not fair, that's 100%, that's not fair, that's 100%, I haven't even really considered them because I thought the whole point was we were trying to get everybody at a more equitable percentage. So then why have we eliminated all of the other maps that had 100% and yet still kept one at 99? So that's why I feel like I would then need more information to go back and look at them more closely. Also, I still feel like we're supposed to be a committee that's supposed to be trying to meet the needs and address all of your concerns and criteria that you gave us. Plus, why did we have the public do any kind of survey if we're not going to take that into consideration too? So I feel like we haven't really had a chance to talk much. That's why I feel like I'm being pressured tonight. You're saying majority, but I've been here every week, and all of the voting members have not really had a chance to really talk and say, how can we make this as close to meeting all the criteria and taking into consideration the public and not giving anyone at 100% capacity? That's all I'm asking is, I feel like I need more time than if we're going to say 99%, you're at 100%, it's okay. Then I just didn't even consider those others because I didn't think it was fair.
Well, if you or someone wants to request another one of these options be nominated, you're allowed to do that.
But then we would need time to look at it. And that's why I'm saying that I think we may have to come back if we can't all talk, the voting members.
Well, I'm trying to be reasonable with the time and the schedule that we've laid out. The vast
provided that date for us.
Yeah, in case we needed it. But the vast majority of the committee is ready to vote.
Then can I go over and see if there's potentially a fourth map that we would like?
Yes.
Okay.
I feel like we're just elongating this, and if the majority of the committee is ready, I feel like the committee should vote. I'm sorry, but I'm not trying to be rude, but I feel like we're just trying to elongate it here unnecessarily.
Thank you for your opinion. I understand, and I'm taking the vote of the committee as how we're proceeding. The vast majority wants to vote tonight. We have time to put up another option if someone wants to come up with another option. We have till 8 o'clock.
the numbers were too close to 100. You said you didn't really pay too much attention. But to piggyback off of that, we weren't just looking at one thing. And I think maybe we were all looking at multiple things, and we should continue to look at multiple things and not just one thing. That's what I keep saying, like, don't fixate on the 99% when everything else looks decent. You know what I mean?
The voting process takes 5 minutes, so I'm giving a few more minutes if someone wants to recommend another option.
Can I make a point? I just want to talk about the survey results. If you look at the Chase Elementary people, 40% approved option A, 60% approved option B. If you look at Oliver Beach, 90% approved option A, 4% approved option B. If you look at Seneca, 25% approved option A, 66% approved option B. So I think looking at the 60 and the 35 isn't an accurate representation of the school input.
One more thing to consider, ladies, is that with the request for 4th and 5th graders to stay at their home school, I have a feeling that a lot of 4th and 5th graders are going to choose to stay at their home schools. Like, both of us have children that go to a school that would be having to move, and we're both going to choose to not go to Oliver Beach and just stay at our home school. And there's going to be quite a few families that are going to choose that. So that will also kind of bring down that 99%.
Are there any other options being nominated? Can you can you tell us what that option is?
All right, are you ready?
No, just tell us which one so we can move it over.
Okay, so the one is option 1A right here.
All right, just move it, please, Chris. As is.
Yes, as it.
Okay. difference I see between 1A and A is here. This is the change. It's one planning block. All right, so we have 4 nominations. Are there any other nominations? If you're ready to vote now for the recommendation, please raise your hand. All right, that's the majority of the committee. So does everybody have a, whatever they're called? You know what?
Okay, so everyone's got their active vote device. So when we make this go live, it'll be open. As a reminder, you can, if you change your mind, you're able to do that till we close it. So if you, well, between them, you're able to do that. And as long as we have it open, the votes will be recorded. And we'll give you as much time as we need to get those votes recorded as well. So we'll go ahead and open this up. And we've also got little numbers here for those that can see. On the back of your device, there's a number. So when you see that there's a little red icon next to that number, it shows that your vote was recorded. And if it doesn't work or you can't see it or something, we can swap out a device if we need to. We're waiting on 3. There you go. All right, 3. So 4 and 7. Needs more time, that's fine, but just so you're aware. All right, just waiting on number 4. Okay, everyone all set? Anyone need to change their mind? All right. So let's see how we did. Fantastic. All right, so we've got no majority. So what we're going to do here is we'll get a vote again. We're going to drop option C, or choice C and D, which was 2 and 1A, and we'll run this again. So just give me 1 second. So it'll just be between A and B. Uh-oh. All right, here we go again. So A for A, B for B. All right, everyone set? Let's see how this goes. All right, so option B is the recommendation, a split vote there, 55 and 44. Just a reminder that all this will be shared with the board. They'll see this was how you guys broke down on that. All right, so just a couple of things as we wrap up here. For the rest of the calendar, the recommendation will go to the board in February. They'll have a hearing after that, and then their decision will be in March. Committee members are not you know, you're not mandatory to attend any of those, so you're welcome to attend, especially a hearing if you want to share, like we were on the board, we were on the committee, this is what we did, this is the thoughts, that way you can hear it directly from you. Otherwise, I just want to close with just thanking you each for your time. We know that you're busy, you have a lot going on. We really appreciate all the time you gave for this exercise. Paul, anyone else have anything? We're good?
I just want to say thank you. I know this is hard. I know not everybody's happy necessarily with the results, but this is hard work. And we appreciate your commitment, appreciate your time, and we will bring this forth to the superintendent who will present it to the board. And I really, again, just say thank you for all your hard work.